inner wisdom and expand their knowledge and want to do more. I do health coaching here through Cynthia's office, and if any of you are interested in that. We also, please reach out, yeah.
I am.
Okay.
This fundamentally changed something for me, and I realized that I had a completely different experience doing that.
Wow. You got it. Seek Kara for scheduling.
Do you include or do you do any studies about the foods that help certain organs based on the shape of the food? I just was taught something recently, but the shape of the food is an indicator which organ it's supposed to be helping
Interesting.
and fortifying.
I can't address that, but I think Dr.
Yes, you
Cynthia
can. That book I gave you
Oh.
yesterday
yes.
is that.
Chinese, a lot of Chinese medicine is based on that kind of stuff, the different energies that food give that heal or
He was saying,
cleanse different parts.
yes, he was saying if you want things that feed the brain, you find foods that look like the brain.
Like
And
cauliflower.
The walnuts and the
Can I please
cauliflower.
speak to this?
Yes.
You have to think of my brain when you're doing that.
So that's a good theory, and it works that way in theory. But we are living in a different age and a different era. And for example, walnuts, which I was taught in Chinese medicine school, it's one of the best things for your brain because it looks like your brain and it's got all these great fatty acids in it, like grape toe. It's also one of the biggest mold factors that there is.
Today.
And mold causes cognitive decline. So there's more to the story. You're right about kidney beans being good for your kidneys. And we can generally follow the rainbow diet. We can generally walk into the grocery store and go, oh, if it's red, it's for the blood. It's gonna make me better. It's gonna cleanse the blood, right? Hibiscus cleanses the blood. Beets are good both for the liver and the blood. So we see red, we know blood. There's a lot of inherent wisdom in this, and it's also very important to be aware of the modern day that we're living in, because it's not all textbook, unfortunately. The book that I was referring to is one that I gave Tatiana. It's I'm gonna go get it now.
Oh, you have another copy?
Well, of course.
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me. So I'm gonna pass these out. These are for you to take home with you. I wanted to also talk to the cleanse. Dr. Cynthia does purification and cleanse classes or cleanse programs that we do. Here you go. That we then do is in groups where I have online groups that help us kind of get online and in sync with how we're eating and what we're eating. So, and Lisa's been participating in that inaugural group. On
We missed today. I apologize. We
I
got.
record them, so you
Thank
have
you.
to have another one from them.
Good.
This was
I already
the,
told her.
so this is a very helpful book about helping ourselves, and it's using traditional Chinese food and the energetics of the Chinese food.
Take a picture.
Certainly.
By Chinese food, you don't mean
I mean,
specifically Chinese.
no, traditional Chinese medicine approach to food. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah.
It's okay if I talk just
Yes, please.
briefly.
Yeah, so now it's open floor, and so thank you for all of this. This was really fun to educate you. I hope you take some of this home and spread it.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about doing this with you.
Yep.
Because when you walked us through that exercise, I realized that I had time to observe what my body really wanted to eat right then, rather than I do everything through muscle testing. So it's always like, do it really fast, okay, now cook my meal, okay, now I'm eating, and this is like really enjoyable.
Thank you. You're welcome. And like the watching the TV, if you're distracted, you're not taking it in. I made you guys had no other choice but to do the food. And it's hard. Our society doesn't allow that, or doesn't train us.
One of the things I would add to that and I have a bad habit with that also, not all the time, but sometimes.
Well, sure, we all
But
do.
the energetics of that is while you are eating, you are ingesting, and if you're watching TV, you are ingesting the energy or the
yes.
emotions or whatever
Yes.
is going on.
Yes.
Drama, if it is drama, you're ingesting that also, so that's not energetically.
And even disguised as, oh, it's an educational station, or I'm reading a book, you know. Nah, give honor to that food. My husband, who's a fisherman, he would always say, what is it? You have eat the whole fish. It gave its life for you. If you have leftovers, then you make salad out of it, but you've got it in honor the life.
You eat the eyes, you eat the head, you eat
Yeah, well,
the...
I didn't go that far, but yeah.
Don't throw it away.
But
So we're not in Italian cooking.
yeah. But I think yes. Why don't I push my envelope of comfort and enjoy some of that?
This is also the Chinese philosophy. There's no part that's left uneaten.
Just a quick point too, you were mentioning that you notice a huge difference. So I went through the purification program and she taught me all of that stuff on a one-on-one, and it was very difficult for me to break the paradigm of 70 years of eating. So give yourself time if you don't get comfortable doing it the first couple of times.
Thank you
Just
for
learn-
yeah.
just learn. It's a
Baby
process.
steps.
It's a process.
Thank you for speaking to that. Thank you very much.
Something that I'm really having fun with now, I've got an arrow garden that I have in my laundry room, so it has 6 different kinds of herbs. It's not big, and it's got its own light-sensitive thing, and it is so much fun to watch them come up, and it's like back in the beanstalk. It's very prolific, and they all have different scents and textures, and as they start growing, they start trying to move in on each other's space, so it's, you know, the whole process of watching things grow and then learning when to harvest them and really taking in all of that. Then when I chop them up and put them in my salads or my soups or whatever, it's like a whole different thing. I appreciate it much more than just dumping.
Right.
Yeah, you're more engaged. If you're more engaged you are with your food, preparing your food,
Oh, yeah.
actually the more delicious it is.
Yeah.
I'm married. I'm
Putting your love into
engaged.
it.
There's a lot to
Don't
that.
tell Terry.
Okay, so I want to briefly introduce you to this concept because when we think of nutrition from a Western world standpoint, what do we think of?
The pyramid.
Pyramid, the food pyramid?
The food pyramid. What do we think? If something has
Vitamin C tablets. That's what I think.
vitamin C
Carbohydrates
tablets,
and
Three squares.
yeah.
Squares of
Say it again.
fats, carbohydrates, and proteins.
Fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, right? Our macros are macros. We've got our fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, and then we might break it down to some vitamins and some minerals, but mostly we're about fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. Chinese medicine, Chinese culture has a completely different view of nutrition. It's much, much richer and more complex, and that is why that is part of how we prescribe food here. For example, this is by the way, this is like a really inexpensive book. It's like $19 on Amazon or something. So it's a fantastic reference to have at hand. This is the energetics of food reference chart. So just to give you a little bit of idea, each food is organized by the meridian that it goes to. So maybe you need something to help your lungs. You probably want to pick something that goes to the lungs. By the way, it's going to be white because that's the color of the lungs. So things like bok choy and onions are going to be better for the lungs. And then it also has, in the second section, it has the actions. So it's going to tell you what it does there. It's going to be things like promoting qi circulation, counteracting cold. What food you might think of or spice might you think of that might counteract cold?
Okay.
Cinnamon, garlic, cayenne, yeah, all of those like warming spices things. By the way, there is no lab test that can break down and tell you, oh,
Yes.
this is hot and this is cold or this is spicy. And we don't have that. Like there's no lab test we can do that says that mint is cold. There's no equivalent. It's a lost in translation kind of thing, even though it is so easy to you that I don't even have to explain the question when I ask what's a warming food. You're like, you're on it. Cinnamon, that's warming. Ginger, that's warming. You got it. No explanation is needed. So you can use food as your medicine. There is the reducing phlegm, resolving phlegm. That would be a really good one to start nibbling on if you were coronavirusing, for example. Now this phlegm going on. So much richer and more complex than proteins, fats, and carbohydrates is this concept of being able to use food as your medicine. And so this is this very in-depth list. If anybody else likes spreadsheets in the room, it's kind of a spreadsheet thing. That walks you through the temperature of the food, the flavor of it, the meridian that it goes to, whether it tonifies yin, yang, qi, or blood, and then what it regulates. So just so you know that this is a whole concept and paradigm that you probably have never heard of before, because I didn't until I went to Chinese medicine school, and there's a heck of a lot of awesomeness that you can do with it. This book will even help you to kind of do some initial, like pre-diagnosis, like this is what yang deficiency looks like, this is what blood deficiency looks like, this is what yin deficiency looks like, so that you can get an idea and you can start to think about what kinds of foods you might want to have. Yeah, so in answer to your question, there's
Yes, you're on the right track.
It's a very good question. It's a kind of question that it's like there's this whole thing connected to it. So thank you for asking that question. Excellent question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Like with your opinion on like eat right for your blood type, like do you have any thoughts on that?
My undergraduate background is in biochemistry and genetics. So I'm a total geek in that sense.
Good. I'm glad I asked.
So and I welcome any comments, but our blood type is a genetic. It puts us in a different genetic three or four, maybe more, but genetic groups. Okay, so someone with a type A blood would have, and I don't remember the specifics, I used to know this better, but someone with type A blood is going to have a constitution and a digestive system that manages meats better, let's say.
I have A, so I don't know a lot about it, but I know they say they do better on vegetarian type.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so I probably got it wrong.
But I mean, I don't know much about it.
But I think there's that component, because genetically, we're so complicated, right? And so we spiral off these proteins that are hormones, that are enzymes that digest our food a certain way. Like if I just stick with the digestive tract. And so if you are a certain blood type and you have the enzymes to digest meat easily, that means all those nutrients are getting pulled out and getting all into your body really good, then yeah, you're gonna be more of a meat eater, or a vegetarian eater, or omnivore. Is that how you understand it, or what do you want to add to that, or?
I find that the blood type diet is valid until the digestion is impaired, and then that changes. That can dramatically change the field.
Okay. So like balancing the digestive tract first, and then it's more beneficial.
Yeah, like let's take a type O person that's usually a meat eater,
Yeah.
but let's say that they've got a very impaired digestive system, and it's very
Right.
difficult for them to digest well.
Okay. Yeah.
And so this person might need more like soups
Yeah.
versus
Not
the
meat.
Atkins diet.
Right.
The soups can have like meat in it, but they just might need to do different things relative to their ability, their capacity to digest.
Gotcha.
And,
That makes
and we don't know what damage has been done
Right.
throughout the life, right? So, and that absolutely speaks to what Dr. Cindy was saying there. So, and emotions
Exposure
too,
to
and then
toxins, neurological disorders.
and emotions, and we can go into all that on another topic.
I think also on that, I've looked at many diets over the years, and when you look at if you were to go into a bookstore and you see all of the whole diet section and all these different ones, the blood diet, the Cambridge diet, the this, the that, the other thing, Or you get that one book over there that is based on thousands of years of study versus the books we see in the bookstore now that are based on
What's in vogue?
maybe 100 years of study.
No doubt.
It makes more sense that way.
And also, you know, in an age where it's easy to write a book, or it's simple to write a book and get it published. So, hey man, when I ate like this, I dropped weight, I felt good, my energy's good. So all those diets, you know, it worked for those people really, really well. And yes, it might work for you too, but for a short time. And that's why, again, I come back down to figure out what works for your body, go to your gut instinct, and who do you need to see? What specialist, what practitioner, what healer can help you through this? You know, how much could it be that there's a psychological need to get fixed up?
Yeah.
How much is it that really, no, I need a Chinese medicine person? How much of it is the house you're living in?
When you say that, do you mean like
Like
eating
mold.
habits, or do you,
Envi-
okay,
environment.
I'm
environmental
sorry,
habits.
thinking, like mold, you know, some of us, you know, you've heard of molding houses, moldy
But it could be
sick
that.
buildings,
It could be emotional stuff in the house.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
it could be who you're living with, you know, so there's so much complication, I think, with our life, so so I simplified this so much. But my goal again was just to
To
keep you a
put
little bit
tone-
curious, get
Tease
you
a
curious.
little bit.
Be in the moment.
Yeah.
Well, and even when you are more in the moment, you're in a better position to recognize those things.
Mhm.
If you are eating somewhere outside of your house and you have a really pleasant experience, and then you always have a bad experience in your house, then that might tell you something.
You gotta be aware of
Or
it.
around a certain person, you can never digest your food.
Yes.
That might tell you something.
Yes.
Your brain. So it places you in better awareness.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad my wife doesn't have any digestive problems. It would look very bad on my resume.
And each one of these points are topics that we can expound on in our series of talks that we.
When is your next talk?
My next talk is soon. It's in a couple weeks.
Yeah, April 17th.
Yes, April 17th. And it's on reading food labels because it's more than just knowing how to read.
It's a whole different language.
Yeah.
Did you know they're changing the name of high fructose corn syrup?
Oh, yeah.
Again,
Yes.
Again.
Yeah.
Because
Yet
we're
again.
on to
What is
their.
and we're on to their game.
Now they're just calling it, I think it's like fructose syrup or something like that. It's just basically sweet syrup. They've narrowed it down so now you can't.
Sure.
Because I called on I have a specific soda I like, but only because it's only a couple ingredients
Because
and
it's not hard enough
real
to figure
sugar.
out how to eat healthy.
So I don't want any high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
I don't want any. If I'm gonna have soda, I want it to be real sugar and real ginger and real whatever, right?
Yes.
And so I called this company and I'm like, okay, well, tell me what this is. And they wouldn't tell me. And they're like, well, we'll talk to our people in the back that cook it. I mean,
R&D. Let me call it R&D.
What they mean is the legal department.
Yes. And so I sent a message back and forth because nobody in that department would talk to me. And so that person sent me a link that just said fructose syrup, right? And I'm looking it up and I'm like, there it was, buried through 3 different names and labels and whatever. It's high fructose corn syrup. I'm like, you.
Oh, that's.
Start, you know what? Learn how to make your own ginger ale. Because you control what you put in.
It's pretty easy
If
these
you really want this sugar drink that you like, make it on your own. My suggestion. We also have another talk on Thursday, which I think is.
It's not this Thursday. It's
Wasn't Dr.
next
Ernesto?
Thursday. Yes, on the 26th. We have Qigong in the morning at 7:30 with Dr. Sim.
Yes! Qigong for immunity! Booyah!
And then that evening at 6 we have Dr. Ernesto's, which is
Reversing chronic pain.
Reversing
chronic
chronic
pain.
Right, I got my days mixed up, yeah.
Awesome. Thank